Yo, 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 welcome to another edition of the Geeky Bros Podcast. I'm just Darcy.
And this is Big Geek Umar. How y'all do? Well, how you doing today, bro?
I can be y'all if you need me to be. I'm doing
Yeah,
pretty good. Yourself?
I'm doing well. Still speaking to you from Colombia. Enjoying my time over here. Keeping safe from the wildfires, but like hopefully they will be contained soon and also not too destructive. But at the
Yeah,
same time, really enjoying the food, really enjoying the people
be
and the
be
shopping.
be safe. I swear, I thought I just heard like a plane go by. Your
That
audio
that,
there?
wa- that was a that was a motorcycle, but there have been helicopters going by. But so far, it sounds like in Bogota, where I'm staying, they got things under control, and like hopefully the rain will come back because like this is supposed to be their rainy season. It not raining.
Yeah, it's like everyone's like can't be fast enough. Like,
Yeah.
do people have a traditional rain dance? Because it might be time, you know.
Yes. I think that a different. Well, they. It is hilarious because before the wildfires actually happened, I was enjoying the like 25 degrees, or like 23 degrees that it's been here. They're usually at 17. So for them, they're just like, this is really hot. And I'm just like, this is the best. And then the wildfires happen. I'm like, okay, well maybe we should go back to the
Speaking of heat, before we get off this topic, is when I was in Cambodia, the heat was 32, 33 every day, and then the one day it goes up to 35, and it was like the humidity was insane. And this is
ring.
their dry season, and it like rained that day, like it got high, and they're like, yeah, no, this is the dry season. And I was like, when it was humid, it made Canada look like nothing. Like, and they're like their monsoon season, it's 45 degrees in that humidity. And I'm like, okay, so you guys are hot.
I don't think I've ever been in 45-degree weather.
Yeah, they just describe it as you're there's a reason why like a lot of men don't wear shirts like as a cultural thing, because it's like when you're at that point, like just walk around in shorts and sandals and Crocs. Like there's just no point for
Point.
anything else. Like
Yeah.
forget underwear, just shorts, just go. Anyways, I digress. What's on
Yeah.
the agenda, Umar?
Yeah, so we are just waiting. Like I believe our brother Tactix will be joining us shortly. So we will be the show will continue until he arrives, and hopefully just a little piece of housekeeping for those of you who are not watching us live and will be watching us later on. Please click the link. Please click the description for the timestamps for each of our topics for today, and you can click right there and go directly to the topic that you want to go to. And now our first topic of the evening is no surprise, given the fact that I have been repeatedly discussing about this for the last 15 years, really. The return of Avatar: The Last Airbender, but not in the way we're used to. So Netflix, like I would say during COVID, decided to bring our beloved animated series back, and it had a huge comeback. And then Netflix is like, okay, well, let's put some money towards this and do an adaptation like they've been doing for everything. Now, we have recently, and Darcy will be our voice of reason on this one, received a shining example of how to do an adaptation from
One
One
Piece.
Piece.
One Piece.
Exactly. We received our first full-length trailer for Avatar: The Last Airbender, Netflix's live-action adaptation. I want to know what my bros thought, and I will be also giving my 2 cents as well. So, Darcy, since we're still waiting on Tactics, what are your thoughts? What did you think of this trailer?
um, I am cautious, and I don't even want to say cautiously optimistic. I am cautious about this show. Like every one of us bros here, we're all big fans of Avatar. I mean, the time when it came out and saw like, wait, is this American? Wow, this is actually good, because usually when you see something anime that isn't like a cartoon
Oh
and it
God,
doesn't have those layers, oh, that is something.
that
Uh,
hurts.
um, so, um, Yo, Tactix.
Tactix, welcome, brother.
What up? What up?
Yeah. So
Darcy's just giving his reactions to the trailer.
No, I've been here, guy. I've been here.
Oh, okay.
He's just flying under the radar. You know what I'm saying? Like that first movie needs to be doing.
Did it exist though? Was it a bad dream?
I mean, by the looks of it. Also, nationalities just alone in his picture. But okay, so my overall thought on this is that I am cautious about this because it looks visually on point. Okay, like you can see in these two pictures the drastic difference between the two, right? But the trailer did not give me the essence that it would have the heart of the show, especially the humor side of it. And I know that like they want to go more serious, but I don't know how it's like how some of those characters can be fully understood without the hilariousness. Like I was watching this funny TikTok clip that I sent to Umar that is just like not really what needs to be adapted, but the guy's like, he's like, how are they going to adapt things like what's the
Guitar.
Guitar. I want to make sure because I'm thinking about One Piece and other stuff right now. So Katara, every time like people stop talking to her, all her brain cells stop, and I never noticed it until now. Like when no one talks to her, she just stops animating. They just don't animate her. She just off on the side, and I'm like, oh my goodness. It's like when people talk to her, she's good, but when people talk to her, she has one brain cell. That's it. Like, it's nothing left. But like there's humor and there's a heart to the show that I'm not quite seeing yet, and it's got me worried that it's not going to be on point as well. And I was seeing this, people talk about this, why did the original creators leave? Yep. And there's a real potential here that like we're not seeing the proper natives and Aboriginal representation in this show, because the show wasn't about just like Asian people. It was about these different Aboriginal tribes from very specific parts of the world being represented inside of these in each of the nations. And I'm just kind of worried that it's going to be a little bit of what's the word I'm looking for? Something over substance.
I know what you mean. Yeah, sorry.
On the point that it's going to look great, but miss the core content that needs to be delivered.
Yeah.
So in terms of Netflix adaptations, I'm not worried that this is going to be anywhere near Death Note, okay, or Full Metal Alchemist, or any of those other trash adaptations. I'm not worried about it being down there in the dirt, but I do feel like it's gonna be like a 6 out of 10. At its top number. Like it's just gonna be like, oh yeah, it was good, but definitely not great. So that's what my gut's telling me right now.
Okay. T?
I enjoyed the trailer. I do agree with Darcy that it's lacking a lot of the essence that the cartoon had, but I'm not expecting it to be a carbon copy of, and I'm not saying that Darcy is per se, but I'm not expecting it to be a carbon copy of the cartoon. I just want it to be good, capture the main things that we've loved about the cartoon. Obviously, certain things are probably not going to translate quite as well, given it coming from a cartoon going directly into a live action property, without it being over the top and cheesy. So, I mean, if that's the reason why the creators decided to leave and they wanted to make just like a splitting image of the animation and have all the quirkiness and all of that kind of stuff, and that's the reason, and Netflix kind of wants to take a little bit more of a serious approach to kind of like make it a little bit more grounded, but still capture some of the most of the elements of the show, I think I'd be okay with that. Of course, you can't really tell from a trailer. You have to kind of just watch it and see for yourself how everything kind of pans out. Trailer looks good. I'm definitely going to tune in and watch it. I was a big fan of the cartoon. and I'm curious to see how they do. I mean, look, at the end of the day, let's just do something better than the movie. That's really all I'm hoping for. Like, that's it. That's
Fair.
it.
That's fair. Okay, so I will say that I'm kind of on the same boat as you guys. I will say I was overly critical of the trailer, but that's because I've been burned from the that movie that shall not be named. And I was describing it to
Dragon
describe
Ball
it to someone.
Evolution. That's the movie.
I took it from the perspective of like you dated someone, you fell in love, they died, and then you like tried to like rebound onto someone who looked like them, and turns out that person stole your money, cheated on you, and then kicked you down the stairs.
Yo, that
So-
that got dark.
What are you going with that, bro?
Yo, I don't know what movie you watched. I definitely didn't watch that film. You know the Avatar movie that I watched was? I still haven't seen the whole film because I have fallen asleep twice trying to watch that film. So whatever you watched, I watched something very different.
No, I was like from beginning to end horrifically offended. But I will say that with this trailer, Elliot Paul says, give us the M. Night cut. Please don't. For the love of God, please don't.
How does that get better?
So with this trailer, I found it to be a good attempt. I was heavily critical, so I once I rewatched it again with a less critical lens, I felt my problems with it were that it seemed like they, like you said, Darcy, like they put more into the show of it. They wanted to make people see it and be like, that's what we're looking at for. But like, some of the costumes did look a little cosplayish. Not all of them, but some of them. I also found some of the acting slash dialogue in the, again, very short clips that we saw to be not the best delivery of lines. Now, granted, again, like this is this is just a trailer. We're seeing like momentary clips. Who knows if it's even like a part of the same scene? So I will say I'm now not being less critical, but I wasn't exactly that enthused about it. The best things about the trailer for me was the special effects, and the martial arts did look nice. I'm just worried that it's going to be people who obviously got 3 weeks of fight training for
Iron Fist. Iron Fist.
I did want to bring that up, but yes, that's exactly what I was thinking. I'm worried it's going to be Iron Fist level fight sequences, and I'm like, the effects will, like, granted, the effects, if you put the same effects that we saw in the trailer in Iron Fist, maybe those fights would be more interesting. But so I am going in incredibly guarded and with very low expectations. I am a little interested to see how they've already started to make changes into the story. I'm hoping it's not terrible, but given it doesn't really make me feel good that the creators of the animated series left Netflix and were like, these guys are doing different things than what we want. And Netflix does not have a good track record of, like, aside from One Piece, where they were literally working with Oda to make things happen, which is why I believe, in my opinion, that series is a success. Mm-hmm. The fact that this
they didn't have a choice; they had to work with them. That's the deal.
Agreed. But like that was them being forced into doing it, which was in their favor. It worked in their favor. The fact that they still haven't learned that lesson after Witcher kind of worries me with this. And we might as well like jump into like the next point of this topic, which has to do with something I just learned a couple of days ago. Was that I'm someone who's a huge, massive Avatar fanatic fan, so I knew about this series like well ahead of its time, but I was completely unaware of something about the casting, specifically towards the actor who is portraying Sokka, Ian Owsley. And what I understood throughout this casting process, throughout all this prep, was that the creators were actually doing ethnically accurate casting, which is what you were talking about, Darcy. And what I found out recently is that a lot of Netflix marketing and Netflix news, and also a lot of like websites that are covering the Avatar stuff, have all been relatively keeping this under the radar. That the guy who is portraying Sokka said that he was, like, in order to get the job, he said he was of Cherokee descent, so that he could portray Sokka. And it turns out he lied, because fans were like, "Wait, this guy doesn't." Like, he's not on the registry. And also, like, he's now saying that, oh, my great grandmother was Cherokee, so I'm like part Cherokee. So everyone's just kind of like, are you?
The American trope. Everyone's part Cherokee.
Exactly.
If there's a tax refund available.
Exactly. So people are now starting to talk about this on TikTok, and now starting to talk about this on Twitter. And since the trailer dropped, now I've started to hear about this, which is, I'll admit, this is disappointing. Granted, this is one actor in an ensemble cast. Fair enough. At the same time, people are starting to wonder if this is one of the reasons why the creators left. Because the creators, for both Avatar: The Last Airbender and Legend of Korra, they got consultants from the indigenous community to help with the clothes, with the hair, with the behaviors, with the cultural references. If Netflix didn't do that, I can kind of see why they like bowed out. But also, I heard rumors, again, nothing is substantiated, just rumors, that Netflix wanted to make the series more violent and a little bit more sexier with teenagers and adolescents. So I'm just like, okay. I, again, really low expectations, not a fan of the controversy, but at the same time, I do recognize that it is one actor in a relatively large ensemble. Did you guys hear anything about this?
No.
I mean, a little bit of what you're talking about and the points that you already hit, and it's an overall like concerning but not surprising set of things.
Yeah.
I actually have a follow-up question, not specifically on this, but just something I was thinking about the more we talk about One Piece and compare it to this, because obviously One Piece is the pinnacle of Netflix adaptations. So,
or just adaptations in general.
yeah.
That's right. Anime adaptations in general.
Yeah, maybe there's a good adaptation of something else. But anyways, the question I have here is, okay, so when I watched One Piece, right, and it got the core of the story, enough of it that I'm like, wow, yeah, this is enough here for people to get the story. They could tell that it's obviously faster paced, even if they don't know how many episodes are in the animation. It's got to be faster because the pacing is a quick show. But it's enough for me to be able to go out to you guys who hadn't seen it and be like, yeah, enjoy it. It definitely hits a lot of the essence, a lot of the heart. You get a lot of the characters in the story. It's not obviously perfect. It's not obviously the exact same, but like it now allows me to hype you and then promote you towards the animation if you were interested in it, in watching it,
right.
Because now you have a gateway that's more palatable to get into the animation, right? The question I have to you guys is, because we've all seen Avatar, do you think based off of what we're seeing so far, we're going to be doing the same thing with this show for the animated show? We're going to be like, yo, I'm not, obviously we don't know yet, but does it give you the essence? We're going to be like, you're going to turn around to someone who's never watched Avatar. You've always wanted them to watch the true version of it. And then this is going to be that thing you're going to use to promote it? Or you think it's going to be like, yeah, it's cool, but it's a different show. It's like a different thing. Tough question, I know.
How would you take that, T?
That is a great question. And I know you guys tried to do that with Death Note with me. Because
no! I have literally made sure nobody watches that.
But no, because I watched the live action one first, and then you guys were like, "Yo, you fucked up. You should have watched the anime, and then nothing else."
Well, put it this way, it all goes up from here.
Yeah,
You still need to watch that. That is only
I do,
25 episodes,
Yeah.
and it is worth it.
Genius.
yeah. Yeah, I think that's all predicated on how good the show is. Because I mean,
But does it give you the essence right now, just seeing the trailer, that that's going to potentially happen, definitely going to happen, or definitely not going to happen? Where do you think it's going to land for you? Just based off your gut right now. Definitely not, maybe, because I'm in the middle right there.
I'm gonna say definitely not because I have my answer. So T, you can take it from there.
I think I would definitely direct someone to go and watch the anime 100%.
So you think the live action is going to be a good enough adaptation that you're going to be like, yeah, watch this, and if you're into it, now go watch this show.
Yeah, because it makes it relevant. You know what I mean? Because it's especially if, let's say, for example, to the uninitiated that's never watched an anime or anything close to it ever in their life, and they just decide like, oh, this looks interesting for the live action one, and they decide to watch it, and they're like, oh man, this is actually really, really good. Then it's like it gives me more segue to be like, okay, like listen, I know you like the live action, and maybe you don't fuck with the cartoons as much, but if you like this, then I really think you should at least check out the first season of Avatar: Last Airbender, and just do a comparison and let me know what you think is better. And then if you think if you're fucking with the cartoon,
I have a follow-up question. Well, I got a button here. I got a follow-up question. It has to be asked. I have to clarify something. Okay,
Yeah.
let's just imagine the M. Night Shyamalan's version. That movie came out right now, and for whatever reason, people actually were loving it. Like the general audience was loving it.
I know 2 people who liked it.
Right, but like let's just say it's popping. Okay, let's just say weirdly enough it's popping. Would you still do that with that one? I just want to know if you're just like the general popularity is how you would use it as a gateway, given that the content is crap.
No, I for me it's all based off relevance. Like the fact that obviously the M. Night Shyamalan version like came out like years ago, so like we haven't had a new Avatar property since really. And so the fact that they're now coming back and they're introducing Avatar, and hopefully trying to do it way better than M. Night, I just think based off of the relevance alone, I just be like, yeah, it gives me more of a push to be like, okay, yeah, the live action is out, but you should definitely check out the animated version.
Okay.
So my response is for both. One, I feel that this is going to be one of the situations where people are going to be like, I kind of liked it, but like, it just was so corny, it was so lame, but like it had such cool ideas. I'm like, okay, please watch the animated series. I beg you to watch like just 3 episodes. Just watch the first 3 episodes and compare that with like the first episode of the season and see if you want to go from there. With the M. Night Shyamalan thing, Darcy, it's funny you should ask. I did meet 2 people because like it was at a party one time. They're like, "Oh, yo, did you watch that Last Airbender movie?" I'm like, "Yeah." They're like, "Yo, man, it was amazing, right?" I was like, "What?" And they're like, "Well, I'm not saying it was like the best movie ever, but like
Yeah, they are."
and they're both like, "Yeah, like we watched it with, and like we had a great time." I was like, "What?" And like my friends like, just don't mind him. He it is a personal attack. I'm like, no. Look, there's no trouble here. We're not getting into a fight. I want to understand what you mean.
Umar, you can't follow up with "we're not getting into a fight." When nobody's mentioned a fight. Don't worry, we're not gonna get into a fight. Who's what? Why is he bringing up a fight?
I that night I was called height.
So the problem with that though too is, sorry to cut you off, Umar. Because you mentioned in terms of corniness, the problem with this now is like, because you know how they're trying to make it more violent and whatnot. To the uninitiated, let's say they watch it like and have no context or they're not familiar with the source material at all, and they watch it and they actually really enjoy it because of that, and because it's a lot more, it's more serious and grounded. is it going to be hard for them to go to the original source material and be like, well, what the fuck is this
And
kitty
that's
shit?
the core of my question, because if it's not representative from your guys' opinion and like mine as well, the source material, then will you think that it's like, oh, I can recommend this? Because it's like, just because it's popping doesn't mean that you're gonna be like, yeah, now go watch the source material.
Understood.
Right?
But I
because the thing is, the problem, it's an interesting question, T and Darcy, because like I have had difficulty getting people through the first season of Avatar because they're like, it's too kiddish. But then I'm like, and I'm like, please get to second season, and everyone's like, okay, and like, you know, with my lady and also with UT and also a few other people, when they got to second season, they're like, whoa.
Yeah, it got real, because I like even before I started really getting into anime, and like I'd seen it come out. I don't know, was it on YTV or like what
Nickelodeon. So
Nickelodeon.
Okay,
yeah. So I'd seen, like, back when I had cable, I'd seen the trailers or the previews for it, and I was like, yeah, this is not for me. This looks like some teeny bopper kid shit. Like, I'm not for it. And then I think it was Umar. It was you that was like, no, just like give it a try. Like, just like, you trust me, it gets better. And like, I was getting through the first season, and it was like a struggle for me because I'm like, yo, this is just too cheesy for me. But as you said, like, it got better as the season went on. There was a lot more enriched storyline involved, and that really is what captivated me. But you have to get through not even the first full season, but just the
first 8 episodes.
Yeah,
and then you're kind of like where, because like I remember for me the sweet spot was like, I remember now, episode 12 is when you find out what the hell happened to Zuko, and you're just like, okay. And then they followed that up with I'm forgetting it right now, but like there was enough meat there in the halfway point, but you still have to get to the halfway point.
Yeah.
And so like that's a hard sell to do, especially against an 8-episode live action version.
Yeah. So maybe that is why Netflix decided to take a more serious route.
I'm fine with a serious approach. Like, as long as you're not like Game of Thronesing it, where like people, like, you know, like people are getting down and dirty while flying on Appa. I'm like, what's happening right now?
I don't think they're going to take it that far. That'd be sacrilegious, man. Like, they can't do that.
I'm just saying. I
don't think they're going to take it that far.
Hollywood's is on some weird stuff. It has been, is on some weird stuff.
Yes.
Saying.
And now, the fact that they kept, because what I was originally hearing is that they're going to age up everybody so that they could do this. And I'm like, I don't want to see Aang and Katara like hooking up. That's just weird. But it looks like they kind of like, once the creators left and there was this massive outcry, they decided to stay close to home. Fair enough. But the thing is, like, Avatar, if you want to, you can make a very serious adaptation, because the 3rd episode deals with genocide. The first season and second season deal with like generational trauma. And the 3rd season deals with imperialism and how it has a negative effect on the populace. This is not necessarily for kids conversation piece. Like, and also there's a heavy amount of psychological and physical abuse from a parent happening in the series. So like, again, like, these things, if you want to, and also these are child soldiers, technically speaking. Like, they're renegade child soldiers fighting a war that's lasted for 100 years. If you wanted to, this could be a really dark series and be a good one.
So they're probably going to emphasize on that stuff more, lean more into the serious undertones of the show and less on the campier side.
Hopefully.
Yeah, that in theory could be good. And my only worry is this, like, how do I put this? If there's 2 ways that I would want them to do this show, and I don't feel like I'm going to get either one of them. If you're going for the serious idea, one is you keep the core of what the story is, a tone of the story. So you have the campiness at times, you have the sarcasm, you have the fun, but when you get to the dark material, you spend more time in it, and you go places the other show didn't go, and then that'd be really, really good, because then I get the fun, and then it would make the darkness really pop with the brevity of fun, which is like what the core of say like One Piece does a really good job of, like where it's like, hey, we're gonna have like really dark stuff. They literally talk, they have like a whole arc on slavery, they have a whole arc on like selling people, they have like a whole arc on like racism, right? Like they have all these giant arcs, and then they make you laugh throughout it, and so like it makes the dark points not the show always be dark. That's one way of doing it, and that'd be fun. The other way of doing it I would be Fresh Prince, like the adaptation of that.
Oh,
Bel-Air.
yeah.
Bel-Air, yeah, where you do like a whole different show and you focus it from a different angle, and then you do nods back to the original show, but I'm going into it knowing that it's a different show. Because if I just get like, hey, it looks the exact same, but Aang is just like 5 years older and trying to hook up, and we're gonna do dark, right? That just to me is like, what am I looking at? You're trying to visually convince me it's one thing, and I have expectations, but then not give me those expectations. And even if they don't age up and do the weird spanky stuff they don't need to do, then they just make the tone serious, but it looks like the show that I want to laugh at, and I'm never going to laugh, then I'm going to be like, why does it look like this? Because you're setting me up for an expectation, and I'm going to see a scene, and I'm going to be like, oh, and then I'm not going to get it. And then I'm going to be like, oh, okay, I guess we're just going to move on. So I think I'm going to have moments that, like, yeah, the dark will be interesting, but I'll be disappointed consistently because it won't meet expectations because you decided to make it look like the thing that I expect.
Makes sense.
Yeah. No, I'm with you on that one.
Yeah.
All right. Well, moving on to our next topic. So something that I didn't even know was on the table. Actually, I didn't know anything about this previous film, but we have recently seen a trailer drop for Amazon's Roadhouse with Jake Gyllenhaal. Now, I saw this image. Actually, I saw both these images online and people talking about it. And I'm someone who did not watch I didn't even know it was an 80s movie. In fact, I didn't even know this was a remake until someone was like, yo, man, I hope Jake Gyllenhaal is as good as Patrick Swayze. And I was like, huh? So I did a little bit of research and found out that it was an 80s action film, as, you know, usually it is. Anyway, when the trailer dropped yesterday, I was watching it and I was just like, interesting. I'm going to share this with my bros, see what they think. So my bros, T, let's start with you. What did you think of Amazon's trailer for the upcoming Jake Gyllenhaal remake of Roadhouse?
This is a good trailer, man. I'm not gonna lie. Like, I've watched it like at least 4 times already.
Serious?
Yeah, I like it. I don't know what it is. It just like it did it for me, man. Like, and granted, it could be a terrible movie. And also, I don't have a lot of context because I didn't actually see the original. I know Darcy, he said off air that he was a big fan of this, so I'm sure he'll speak more to that. But I was familiar with Roadhouse. I just never, I think I was too young to, like, when it came out for me to actually watch it. And yeah, but yeah, man, this trailer looks good. It looks really good. And like Jake, he's like one of my favorite actors. Like I don't think he gets enough cred for the chameleon that he is, and like the way that he bodies every role that he's in. Even if it's not a great movie, he just fully commits. He has so much conviction, and I don't think he gets the flowers that he deserves. So I'm giving the man his flowers because he is dope at everything that he touches. And he got ripped for the role, and he looks like he knows what he's doing, like in terms of the fighting and everything. So I'm looking forward to it. Yeah, they picked a really good villain for it, because I mean, in real life, Conor McGregor is definitely pretty hated on. Like,
I'm going to admit I do not know who he is.
He's a UFC fighter, MMA.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. And he's probably like one of the one of the famous MMA fighters out there right now. And
I apologize to everyone who is upset with me right now.
It's all good, man. We know you're not into that kind of stuff. But Yeah, I mean he's an asshole in UFC, and it seems like he's going to be an asshole in this. So it's the role is perfectly fitting for him. It suits him very, very well. I see Elliot is not a big fan of the trailer, but hey, man, I like it. I liked it. I'm looking forward to it. The only downside is that I feel like this trailer, or sorry, this movie should have been released in theaters. And
we're gonna get into that.
Yeah.
We're gonna,
yeah,
we're gonna
but yeah, it's just I remember saying this off air. It was just like it's crazy how this trailer has gotten me more hyped than any of the latest Marvel or DC stuff that we've gotten in the last couple of years, and that's very interesting.
I mean,
Very-
the last movie was Aquaman.
Yeah, yeah,
But okay, just so I'm clear, Conor McGregor is the dude who like headbutts Jake Gyllenhaal
Yeah,
at that point.
yeah.
Okay,
He's
just
the one
making sure.
in the left hand side, literally over the word McGregor in that
Mhm.
picture.
Oh
Yeah.
yeah, okay, cool.
Yeah.
All right, Darcy, what did you think with your actual background in the franchise?
Well, small correction. Okay, so I've watched the original a few times when I was younger, but I wasn't saying I was a big fan specifically of Roadhouse. I was saying that my mom was a huge fan of Patrick Swayze when we were young. like Swayze was in the house. Is all I gotta say. Okay. The actual movie that I watched a lot from Patrick Swayze when I was younger. So my mom had these like 2 VHSs that, and she put them at the bottom. Like we had this thin like rack for all the VHSs, and she had these 2 on the
all had that
bottom,
rack.
and she was just like,
Ghost.
yeah, she's like, you're not allowed to watch these, okay? You're not old enough. So when she left, I watched them a lot, and the two were Delirious by Eddie Murphy.
Oh, I thought Ghost.
Yeah. No. She let me watch Ghosts all the time. We watch Ghosts all the time,
Oh.
okay? I watch Ghosts with my mom all the time. That's had me in tears, man. That was a good film, okay?
That was a good film.
Yeah.
That was, yeah.
But the other one, Patrick Swayze movie that she didn't want me to watch was Dirty Dancing. And I watched a lot of Dirty Dancing when I was a kid.
Okay,
she's
that
not-
makes more sense.
She,
Why
yeah,
she didn't want you to watch that?
yeah.
I watched Dirty Dancing for the first time like 4 years ago.
Yeah, it's unbelievably racist, by the way.
I was like, Jesus.
I know, like the first scene, that was actually my favorite scene. Was like when he goes to the lodge where all the workers are, and it's like where all the black people are, who are like clearly not around to be around the white people, and they're all dancing, and it's like sweaty and stuff. Man, that's all I was emulating when I went to high school. That's what I was trying to do every time. But anyways, I digress. But yeah, no, I watched Roadhouse a few times. It was just one of the lower ones on the list. And you know the thing,
Shit.
the thing about
He was in that. Okay, sorry. I thought I haven't seen this picture before, and Sam Elliott is in the movie.
Oh, I thought you were saying Patrick Swayze. I was like, you didn't know who he was at all? I was like, we were just talking about him, but okay. But the thing is, this trailer looks awesome. And I like how it feels well fitted. Okay. I don't remember if the first one was in Florida, but the fact that this one's in Florida, I was like, yeah, that perfectly works for like the type of atmosphere you need for this kind of movie. And then also adaptation differences that I really like. The original one was martial art focused. This one is UFC focused, right? Because back in the 80s, what was poppin'?
Yeah.
Like you had Chuck Norris, you had all the Chinese martial arts coming through. So there's like, if you go back and watch the 89 trailer, you see Patrick Swayze doing like this kind of pose, you know, right? Like a very much a martial art move. You don't see Jake Gyllenhaal up in here doing that. You see Jake Gyllenhaal here pulling UFC moves, and he's fighting a UFC fighter, and he's an ex-UFC fighter. So I just like how it's like, yep, that's how you modernize it. Because if he was out here just doing martial arts, it would feel weird for the atmosphere and the timing and everything they're putting down. But what's popping? We have boxing and we got UFC, and UFC is massive, and it just works for this because you need that brawl kind of fighting. It's a very bar fight movie, so you need something that makes sense for that. And Jake Gyllenhaal, like Tactix saying, give the man his flowers. The guy is a chameleon. The guy has done boxing movies. He's done everything. Like Elliot said in the comments, Prince of Persia. I won't lie. That is a guilty pleasure. I know it's absolutely appropriated, but one, I just liked how he acted in that film. I thought he was fun. And two, his co-star, I may have had a crush for a very long time. So,
We all have a crush, yeah. I will say, I still cannot believe that Jake Gyllenhaal gave me a like a wonderfully comic translated version of Mysterio.
oh,
Like,
I thought you were gonna say he was an amazing Persian.
No, I wasn't going to say that. Never will I say that. Not where I was going. But I see why you thought I was going to say it. But like honestly, the fact that he played Mysterio and he played him well. When I heard Jake Gyllenhaal got casted for Mysterio, my first thought was, really? And then I watched it. I'm like, damn.
Mm-hmm.
The man don't miss. Okay, the man don't miss.
Nope.
So yeah, I'm super excited for this one. This one is absolutely hype, and I think it'll live up to it. Plus, the we'll get into the controversy around this, but the director of this,
He's not slacking.
no, what was the movies that the director's done of this again?
He's done The
Mr.
Bourne
and Mrs.
Identity,
Smith.
Yeah,
Mr. and Mrs. Smith, Edge of Tomorrow, and like Jumper. Not that Jumper was a great film, but like it had some cool action.
Yo, I like Jumper.
yeah, like it's just a. This is setting up to be very, very strong. So
He also did
hyped for
Go.
this.
He did Go, right?
I'm looking up right now the director so I can just see the list of
But yeah,
stuff.
Doug Liman. So we might as well just jump right into the controversy. So the controversy, which happened literally when this trailer got dropped, I was like, I sent this to the bros. We all seemed to want to make it a conversation piece, and then Darcy, was it you who posted it?
Yeah.
Yeah. Darcy comes back and is like, hey, check this out. So apparently, Doug Liman, the director of the remake of Roadhouse, is boycotting his own film. And
He's boycotting the premiere.
Yeah, the premiere, yes. Boycotting the premiere of his own film, which is new. I will say that it has happened on occasion, but the reason for this is something that, frankly, has been happening more and more since COVID. And we thought it was just a COVID thing. Nope, it's a company thing. Apparently, he was told when he was making this movie for MGM, but then MGM got bought out by Amazon, he was told that this was going to be a theatrical release. It not being released in theatrics. It's in theaters. It is being dropped on streaming service. Kind of similar to what was it Warner Brothers did with Christopher Nolan?
Similar, yeah.
Yeah, because Nolan ditched them after that. So yes, this is starting to make a little bit of ripples before this film that this should have. He was told that this would have been a theatrical release, and instead it's being dropped on streaming or like direct to streaming. So I mean that's good for us in the sense that like we don't have to go out to the theaters and we can like just get pizza and like all watch it together in our basement. But
sounds like you're planning something. That was like so specific.
Yeah.
At February 2nd at 8 p.m.
we'll do the same thing, no.
45 Yonge Street, downtown Toronto.
Yeah. But yeah, so what are your thoughts on Amazon's move? Darcy, let's start with you.
I'm not surprised Amazon's doing this. I say this is unfortunate because I know this also probably has some impact on the financials of what they expect to get out of this film and royalties and all that kind of stuff. So, but I'm not surprised. I'm not surprised because it's like, yeah, you could put this out to theaters and then it'll go to streaming afterwards and it'll bring some people in, right, to your streaming after that happens. But the majority of people go see it in the theater are going to see it in the theater, right? And then later on, you're just gonna get the people that's like, oh, you didn't watch it? Oh yeah, go check it out. It's on Prime. But you're not gonna get a huge draw. So they're trying to do this what they hope for, but I don't think it landed quite as hard. Like the Michael B. Jordan film that they had based off of the guy who just like Tom Clancy. Yeah, see, it didn't land super hard. Umar is just like confused. He doesn't know what I'm talking about. They
Without
did a Michael,
Remorse,
yeah,
the
they did
movie
a
that he
Michael
did.
B. Jordan movie on Amazon Prime. Yeah, which is a full
What's the name of the movie?
Without Remorse.
yeah. He's basically like the most elite ex-Navy SEAL there ever was, who has like no emotion, and they killed off his like wife and his daughter, and he's just like just going on a tear to kill everybody. Like that's it.
Okay.
And it's got like an amazing fire pun scene in Las Vegas where like he kills a guy in the car while it's moving, while lighting the shit on fire. Like it's insane. But anyways, so I see this movie being big, being hype, and they're just gonna like bring people to Amazon Prime instead of putting it in the theater and try to really boost their Amazon Prime. And I think that like this has a bigger chance of doing that because Michael B. Jordan's a good actor, right? But he didn't get the draw, and he's good, but I don't know if he brings that draw entirely by himself yet, right?
Right.
And or at least at that time, that year specifically, it was like just after I think Black Panther.
Black Panther.
But the with this one with Conor McGregor's got like a big buzz around him, right? And the mix of the two, I think, is just gonna make people want to be like, I gotta see. Did Jake hold his own? Like, I know that boy puts in work, and then Conor, like, how does this go? I gotta see this. So I'm not surprised because from their perspective, it is a smart business move. This could really pump people into Prime in a way that they haven't been, and then they'll be promoting Reacher and they'll be promoting other stuff on top of it to keep them in there. So I'm not surprised. I know it's not great, but I'm not surprised. It'd be dope though, and then this won't help the director by any means, but they get it into Prime, and then it's buzzing and buzzing and buzzing, and while it's buzzing, they drop it into theaters for like a short period of time. Right, so
like a limited release.
A limited release for those who are like, we want to go see it, and then we run out to the theaters to go watch it. But after they build the buzz, if the buzz is going and people are really, really loving, like, oh, I would love to see this on the big screen, and that's like, yeah, we'll do a limited release, like these 2 weeks, boom, go see them, limited, go and go enjoy yourselves.
Yeah. T.
Dead in the water.
Okay. I can't tell if he's joking or not.
Oh, sorry. Did you say something?
I said T.
Yeah, no, like legit, like my shit keeps cutting in and out. I didn't even hear the last thing that Darcy said.
Oh, sorry. We were just asking, like, what do you think of this like move by Amazon?
Oh, well, yeah, Darcy. I mean, I heard like the first half of it. So from what he said, it makes sense in terms of why they want to keep it on Prime. It's just unfortunate that, well, okay. So the good news is that, like you said, Umar, we get to watch it like immediately when it comes out from the comfort of our own homes rather than going to the theater. But I feel like if they keep on going down this route of like just putting everything on streaming, that eventually movie theaters are going to become obsolete, and we're going to spend more time at home watching media and just movies in general than we are going to actually go and support the theaters that seem to be struggling. And eventually it's going to like fall by the wayside, just like Blockbuster did. And so that's kind of a big concern.
That's kind of what people have been saying online, almost exactly verbatim.
Yeah. So, I mean, that's kind of a big concern for me because, I mean, I still love the movie going experience, and there's something that you can't really capture at home when you go to the movie theater and you're amongst other people and you're enjoying a movie together that's really, really good. You got the popcorn, you got all that kind of stuff. And then now they've kind of spiced it up with like the 3D and the 4D and all that kind of stuff. So you kind of feel more immersed in a movie that you're watching, especially if it's a good movie. And I feel like if we lose that, or I feel like there's a risk of us losing that, which is really unfortunate. And yeah, I think some movies deserve to go like straight to streaming, kind of like how Blockbuster had like direct to video type of thing. You know, some of the bad movies were like, there's some movies that are like so bad that they're good, but they don't deserve to be in the theaters, but like you can enjoy them at home. Like, you know what I mean? And then there's movies that
Sharknado
are
15.
yeah, I mean that's actually a perfectly good example, but I don't even think that's Sharknado is even in theaters. But like like movies like that, you know, are so bad that they're good. You still get some enjoyment out of watching them for how cheesy they are. I think they have a place on streaming, but for like movies that you've actually put in the work in and there's like high quality there, like they deserve a chance to be seen theatrically.
Yeah, and there have been movies. Now, again, this was during COVID, so we assumed that this was just like a momentary thing. But there were movies that came out during COVID that deserve to be seen on big screen. And I agree with you guys. Not everything needs to be, and I'm fine with direct to streaming movies that are lame. But like, at least for the
like Beekeeper deserved to be like on streaming, bro. I'm just gonna say that right now.
Okay, we're gonna get to that. We're definitely gonna get to that. But I find that like there are the spectacles, and say what you want about people who find action movies to be not enough of a spectacle and stuff like that, and also kind of going what Elliot was saying in the chat, saying like theaters are dying, prices keep going up, but the product is still the same, 2 to 3 hours of entertainment. That's like if you are able to find out what is a threshold of like what is just average stuff to keep on streaming service, fine, enjoy it in the comfort of your own home. But at least for the spectacle stuff, and this looks like a spectacle, whether you like action movies or like martial arts movie or MMA, like any sort of fighting movies, this looks like it has the backing for it, and it's by a guy who has delivered in theaters multiple times.
Yeah, and prices are going up because of this streaming shit. Like, less people are going to watch the movies because most of the stuff are just going straight to streaming now. So movie theaters aren't making as much money as they used to, so they have to jack up the prices.
Yeah. Okay, Courtney. Are you Courtney saying? Are you saying I don't deserve to see Morbius in glorious high quality IMAX? I know you're trolling, but that hurt.
I still haven't seen Morbius at all.
Go, man. Go.
And I'm just saying I won't be seeing it anytime soon.
You don't have to do this yourself. I took the bullet for you, Darcy.
The most I'm gonna see of it is when I like on a plane somewhere and look over and a kid's watching it on his iPad, and then I'm gonna be like looking for a crack on the screen because I'm like, you deserve that.
I know exactly what you mean. It's like you're on a delayed flight, you're in your seat, and like a kid's playing, and you're like, I'm just whatever.
Now I'll only look for a minute. I'll have my own phone. I'll go back to something.
But yeah, so all right. Moving on to our next topic. Now, this is going to be a very, let's just say that I'm starting to believe that Tactix has insider information that he is not telling you. Because, once again, regarding Daredevil Born Again, Tactix said something last week and somehow has manifested it into reality. His I remember the exact quote. You're like, the way they're doing the MCU, making Daredevil into the MCU canon, and also bringing back the cast, opens the door for Bullseye story to come back. Well, as of January 23rd, Wilson Bethel, who played Bullseye in the original Netflix Daredevil, has been reported to be returning as Bullseye, and this was met with massive pleasing tweets, TikToks, and what you want. So, I'm just going to go straight to you. What are your thoughts on your ability to manifest reality?
Well, clearly they're watching the podcast because, yeah, we said that a long time ago, man. So, and they finally listened, which I'm absolutely pleased about because now this has me a lot more invested and interested in watching this show because we're pretty much just it's not even Born Again. It's just, we're getting Daredevil season 4. That's essentially what it is.
As it should be.
Yeah, 100%.
Everyone said from the beginning
that, like why try to start something new when you have all the original, like now you have all the original players, like just do season 4 like we wanted. Now granted, they can still shit the bed. And that would not be good because now our expectations are heightened because of the fact that everyone's coming back. but is the quality still going to be the same? Is the fight choreography still going to be the same? Like, you know what I mean? Like,
So there has been talk. So first of all, they originally were going to do an 18-episode Daredevil Born Again series. Apparently that's being dropped. Like it's not going to be 18 episodes. It might be like 15, it might be 10, it might be 13, we don't know yet. Also, the series is doing massive rewrites. Now, I will say the only person talking about things is Vincent D'Onofrio, and to be honest, I've stopped listening to him, mostly because what Tactix has said repeatedly every time I told him whatever Vincent D'Onofrio said, and he was like, "Yo, he has to say that though." So I don't know what's going on. I will say that I am hopeful, and I'm glad that they are listening. But what bums me out, I would say the biggest thing that bums me out is they're not bringing back. Now, who knows how realistic it is to do this, but they're not bringing back the creative team behind the scenes. That's the thing that worries me. You can have the cast back; we'll all be happy. But if they're not writing them well, then it's going to hurt more.
Yeah. I'm always worried when it's this much time in between and have you lost the magic, right? And let's be honest here, we have learned that Marvel has a big history in figure it out as we go. And when I was heading to Cambodia and I'm preparing for this like 24 hours of like travel time, right? Both directions. I'm like, oh, let me put some stuff on my phone. So I go on Amazon. I'm like, Reacher, let's go. Add that in there. I'm like, Brother's Son, let's add that in there. And you know what I added in there? I added the whole season of Echo, and I was ready to watch it. And then before I got on the plane, I saw one TikTok clip of Echo and Daredevil fighting, and I was like, I ain't watching that shit, and I haven't watched it yet.
I didn't think that was that bad.
It looked bad because it didn't look like, and someone put this in perspective, okay? Like, Daredevil has had several scenes that made that show. When we saw it in the first trailer, we like, oh my god, this guy is doing a wonder fight in a hallway, just putting hands on mans, okay? Just putting hands on mans. That sounds weird, but that's what it is, okay? And then I see this like backward kick that doesn't even like land, and Daredevil's like, oh no. I'm like, no, I can't do this. I can't go through this and see my man can't handle one prosthetic leg, but the guy can fight like 15 dudes for 20 minutes straight. So no, I can't. And then I saw the Avatar thing that she's doing, and I'm like, nah, this don't feel right to me. I'm sorry. It feels cheap. It just feels cheap. It don't feel like they're doing it right. So I'm just saying, Netflix didn't produce this, and that's hilarious for me to say that. Like, it feels like, weirdly enough, like the prime Netflix era has passed, and we don't have the people behind this to get it going. So I'm worried still.
Well, I'm still optimistic. I will give this a chance.
How is this the case that I'm the one who's pessimistic and you're the one who's optimistic?
Because we come from different worlds. No, I will say that
we're in the multiverse. That's what that is.
Yeah, I'm appreciating the fact that they're taking risks and they're pushing their envelope. Finally, now.
Taking risks is just continuing a story that was already done.
Taking risks in the sense of, like, because they said they couldn't do this story because it was too violent. Now they're deciding to become more violent. They're making it TV mature. So, like, it started out with Echo, but it's a nervous first step. I saw the fight scene. I will say that it's not near that just hurt.
Sorry, I still don't like this yellow outfit.
I didn't like it in the comics. I was so upset that they did this, but whatever. For me, I will say that as I said when we were discussing Echo, I like that they're taking it's a nervous first step. but I'm hoping the next step is going to be more serious. Whether it is or not is something remains to be seen. But the difference is they're working with people who did better before. The people in Echo didn't, except for Vincent D'Onofrio. So I still am hopeful that that they are listening and they're, as you say, fixing it as they're going along.
Yeah,
All right.
fixing it as they're going along. That's
Exactly.
gives me faith.
Moving on to our next topic, which is an interesting kind of like a jumbled topic. As you know, James Gunn is running and also writing and directing the new DCU, the DC cinematic universe. He's starting with Superman Legacy. We have obviously had questions because there are a lot of DC projects that were up in the air and are like, are they still going? And he has said yes to the Batman franchise under Matt Reeves, and also I think the Penguin TV series, and he is calling them Elseworld. Same thing is going on with Peacemaker. Whether that ties into the DCU or is its own Elseworld remains to be seen. But recently, James Gunn has someone asked him a question, and I gotta say, I love that James Gunn actually responds to people. And he was someone was asking about the Superman film that had to do with Val-Zod, which was the potential of Michael B. Jordan's version of Superman, or like the Black Superman, as people more colloquially know him as. He has said yes to this. So I wanted to ask my bros, because also there's the oh my god, the game that you guys were talking about.
The Suicide game, Kill the Justice League.
Yeah. So a lot of these things are happening all around the same time. I kind of wanted to get your thoughts on it. So Darcy, since you know about the game, I don't know much about the game, but so do you want to take and see? I want to hear what you think about this, or I wanted to hear more about this.
Yeah, and to add the thing about the game that ties into the Elseworlds is that they said that they're going to drop DLC, and for those who don't play games, DLC is downloadable content. So basically, after you buy the game, you can download additional content. It's a way to say you bought the game and we want to keep you playing the game, so we're going to give you extra stuff to more new add-ons. And so the DLC is going to go into Elseworld stories. So I would assume that the fundamental of the game was made before. I mean, we know it had been made for years in advance, before James Gunn ever came around. And so the game could technically be in the Elseworld, but technically the game could just also be its own thing. It's not really tied in. But the fact that it's Elseworld stories means that there could be pulling from comics that they're planning to use stories in the Elseworld. The Elseworld in and of itself could have, my guess based on saying that, is that there could be some connected universe stuff in the Elseworld, but not all of it will be. So some of it could be very one-off, and some of it could be hey, there's 2 or 3 films that kind of connect with each other, and there's kind of this cool little thing. There's a Matt Reeves thing, and this other thing that might connect into Matt Reeves. But we're not going to build a full universe. We're just going to have some fun when we feel like having fun, and we'll just drop it when we don't feel like doing anything with it. So there's that part to it. But the whole Elseworlds and I said Val-Zod, I'm just excited by it, because the thing that it represents for me is you have the main universe, and James Gunn's probably going to do something. Oh, that's kind of cool. Though, I mean, why does he look just like Black Henry Cavill? But anyways, that is a white man's hairline on a black man. And speaking as a black man with a white man's hairline,
he goes to James Brown's barber.
I know, but I'm just saying, I'm mixed, but my hair don't look like that. Anyways, moving on. But the thing that James Gunn, I think, will push the envelope where Marvel is not pushing the envelope in terms of comic movies, right, on his main timeline. But the Elseworld represents an even better opportunity, because it's going to be one-off. They're going to have the ability, like how Matt Reeves' The Batman has done, to do things that no comic movies have done with tone and visual and story. And then that will affect James Gunn's like, oh, that was really good. Maybe we should push the envelope in our main universe with some of those techniques, with some of that ideas, but we're not like going to connect it. We're just going to steal from that. And then Marvel might see, hey, these one-offs that DC are doing are definitely a test ground where, hey, if it lands, it lands. If it doesn't, it doesn't. And then that could push us. Like, they're not going to adapt Matt Reeves' style into MCU. Couldn't be farther from it. But it proves like that how it works. And if something in the DC Elseworlds just drops something that's so one-off but so crazy, and it blows up into like a $600-800 million movie, and everyone's talking about it, everybody on the main storylines of DC and Marvel will have to like look at it and go like, oh, is there an essence of something here where we should be pushing the envelope? And that's what is one of the most exciting things to me, is that like it allows them to do things that are going to be fun for us to see without everything having to be worrying about continuity.
How about you, T? You were talking about a Flash game as well. Is that something that's supposed to be part of like this connected universe as well?
No, Flash is in the same game.
Oh, okay,
Yeah,
gotcha,
and there were some people that were having issues with when you get to Flash's level or something like that, and yeah, it was causing a whole bunch of controversy or whatever. But I don't know.
The controversy was that so he's moving around so much that you can't really shoot him, and they found it was like annoying, and it's like, and everyone's like, that's because he's the Flash. Like literally, there's a cutscene before this where Deadshot is going to take a shot at the Flash, and Boomerang comes up and he's like pulls the gun away. He's like, you might as well just mail it to him. Like, it's the Flash. And then he's like screw that, and he takes a shot, and as he takes the shot, he runs up and he's like, what are you guys looking at? Right, like right beside him, right after he shoots, and then he goes to shoot again, and he just like he runs the other side of him. He's like, come on, you might as well just post it to me. And you're like, that's the energy of that boss fight. You're trying to kill the Flash, and it's like you can't hit him. Like,
So T, what are your thoughts on an Elseworld and also a mainstream DCU? Do you think that's too much, or do you think that's actually an innovative new approach?
I mean, it's definitely a risk, but the good thing about doing Elseworld stories is that they have a lot more freedom and they can take a lot more liberties with their properties, right? So because there's a potential for it to all of this to essentially be original stories, we're going to be invested, but we're not going to be watching it with as much criticism, because it's not like when we're watching Justice League and we're like, that's not Batman or that's not Superman. It's like, if it's an Elseworld story, then yes, of course it's not Batman. Of course it's not Superman. It's a different interpretation of these characters. It's similar to, I mean, ironically, James Gunn was behind this when he did the movie Brightburn, the horror version of Superman, right? Where it was the kid who comes down and he's like, he goes crazy and he's like, he's actually a murderer, right? That was a very interesting movie. It didn't really do all that well, as far as I know, in the box office, but I enjoyed it for what it was, and I found it to be a great idea. So if they start to take more risks in that regard, I think it could. It's different, definitely different than what the MCU is doing, and I think the DCU needs different right now in order to stand out. I mean, I know MCU isn't doing too hot right now, but I mean, the DCU needs to at least kind of like step in the ranks and like actually, speak volumes in terms of the stuff that they're putting out. And I think an Elseworlds is not a bad idea. I just hope like they can't get carried away with it and rely heavily on Elseworld stories. We still do want to see original property or like, like our beloved characters shine, right? Like we still need a really good Green Lantern movie. We need a good Flash movie, right? We need a good representation of Superman now. So like they still need to focus on the main heavy hitters, but Elseworld I think is a good idea.
Just briefly, I'll come back to you, Darcy. You just said about Superman, and like it looks like it. Have you guys seen how David Cornsweet looks as Superman these days?
Yeah.
Yo, like I didn't know he could like fill out that well, but also like he looks like a young Henry Cavill.
I think it was who said it. Which one you said? Umar, was it you said it looks like a cross between Henry
No,
Cavill?
Tom Welling.
no.
Yeah, oh yeah, Tom Welling and Henry Cavill. Like that's such a good
Yeah.
way of saying it. He really looks the part. Oh,
Yeah,
look at that.
because like having both like Henry Cavill and Tom Welling, basically the ones that people know most about Superman. Because unfortunately, people don't know about Tyler Hoechlin. They don't know about Christopher Reeves as much, like from like a general standpoint. But everyone fucking knows about Henry Cavill and Tom
Yeah.
Welling. There were enough people who grew up on him to like be well. So like, yeah, he looks like a perfect mutated baby of the two.
You know, what's funny is that this photo here on the left is a fan art, but he actually grew into this to the point
Yes.
that he looks like this. Like
Yes.
it's like the actual leaked test footage. He like when he wears the Henry Cavill outfit, he looks like the Henry Cavill body, and when he wears like the classic OG outfit, he looks like massively fit. Like you're just like wow.
Darcy, what was the thing you wanted to say?
So I had this one thought about one of my favorite Elseworlds is Batman Book of the Dead. Oh, nice. So the thing about the Elseworlds that I had in my mind that came to my mind when Andrew was talking is that one thing that really could pop off here is what happens every time a good director and writer comes to James Gunn and they pitch a really good idea, but it doesn't fit the narrative of the DCU. It's a good opportunity now to allow that to drop into the Elseworlds and then push the envelope further away from the DCU. So it's like, all right, stay away from these things, but do everything else creatively you want. And I think that like we have had so many times where somebody wanted to make this movie for Marvel and it doesn't fit Marvel's narrative, and then they gets removed, and then we end up with something else, and sometimes it's okay, and sometimes it's not that okay. But I think it's a really good way for James Gunn to build those relationships and create those good properties where a good director and writer come to him and present something that's amazing, and it's not going to work for the main thing, but he set himself up to still be able to make those things that need to be made. I think that's a really smart setup for them, because like he didn't want to can Matt Reeves, and how many other people are going to be a Matt Reeves kind of like director with a different story for a different character that won't fit the main line but will work.
Yeah, I can see that. I gotta say, like, I know a lot of people are harping on the DCEU and also harping about like what's going to happen, but I like how James Gunn is restructuring. I like the building blocks he's been putting down. I like the fact that he's retained the VFX company from from his Guardians of the Galaxy days and like to bringing them over to DCU. I trust in Matt Reeves because he's taking his time. He's not rushing anything, which is inherently the problem with DCEU. They were just throwing stuff out there. So yeah, I'm a fan of the Elseworld. All right, moving on to our next topic, which is going to be I should say the review from Tactix about the Beekeeper, because Darcy and I didn't get around to watching it. So T, I am actually very interested to hear what were your thoughts on watching Jason Statham's latest vigilantism?
So Jason is my guy. He's been my guy for a long time, since like not even Transport, since the one with Jet Li. You know what I mean? So I'm usually a big supporter in any. Am I still here, or did I? Hello.
Yeah, you good?
I can hear.
Oh, I'm gone. Yo.
No, we hear you. I don't know what to do right now because he's the one leading.
We can both hear him, but he apparently can't
Jason
hear
Statham
himself.
doesn't want me to review this movie.
Should we text him?
I just messaged in the group chat.
He's definitely having internet issue.
Oh, now he's dropped.
I was gone. Okay.
Well, I guess that's the quality of the Beekeeper. we we. I mean, I know what his review is going to be. Essentially,
Yes. Given how he started, we have an idea, but I guess we could. I guess. Oh, I kind of wish I had watched it now so I could give my 2 cents. But let's just say that I chose to watch Reacher instead, which, from my perspective, from what many people have said, was a good choice. So let's just move on to our next topic, since we've now entirely lost Tactix. So Darcy, so our next topic is going to be Reacher season 2 finale, or Reacher season 2 overall.
Mm-hmm.
And I wanted to get your thoughts on it. I'll give you my review as well. But like, what did you think of Reacher season 2, and specifically, what did you think about the finale?
Well, I love Reacher season 2. I thought at first, you're waiting for the kind of you're waiting for the same formula as the first season, and then it quickly evolves into it's not that formula. It has the same essence, but the story is basically around, instead of it being like he goes into the small town, he's just a kind of a wandering guy. There's a mystery, he solves a mystery, beats a bunch of people up, and goes on his merry way. I like to make it akin to, if those Canadians who know the TV show that was like a dog that would travel on train, then jump off in a random town and then solve people's mysteries, but not as brutal. There's a really really cool, like,
That would be a mauling dog.
No. It was just like a dog, and it would just like sniff things out and find the things that nobody could find. It was a cute show. I loved it when I was a kid.
Okay.
When I was like 5, 6 kind of age. But this one is, it starts off, and one of the crew members from his original special investigator. So when he was in the military, he had a crew that he built up, and they did these special investigations, and one of them dies, and so they get the band back together to go and figure out what's going on. And there's this real assault, and the villain that they're fighting against is a lot smarter than the villain from the first season, and he's really going after them and a step ahead of them, but Reacher's gonna come and he's gonna bring that bang, and it does. But one thing I loved about this is that it really it's funny that how to phrase this, but it had massive character growth for Reacher, and none of it was really said and barely seen. And what I mean is, they pressed on him emotionally, and I thought Alan Richardson did a really good job of conveying, with pauses, subtle visual, like eye expressions and stuff like that he was struggling with the emotion of a moment.
Yeah.
And then still held true to his character, but was being tested. And then, leading what you said to the finale, I don't want to spoil nothing, but man, they handle the business. There's no surprise there. It's what you expect. He's going to handle his business. And at the very beginning, in the very first episode, when he has a conversation with the villain, he makes a promise to him about what he wants to do, and the man lives up to his promises. Okay, unfortunately for the villain, he finds out that the man holds true to his words. Okay, but. You have a
quick
point
question.
there?
So was it the show that you were talking about, the dog? Was it Wishbone or Littlest Hobo?
Littlest Hobo! Thank you. Someone in the comments helped me out there. Courtney. 45 points for Littlest Hobo right there. Yes. Oh.
Never heard of this series.
Oh, you have to Google it. Just look at the pictures of it. Is it like a German Shepherd or something? I forget what it was, but it's just the Littlest Hobo. It's adorably Hallmarky show about a dog traveling across either America or Canada and helping people in small towns, right? It couldn't be any simpler. But anyways, the season finale for Reacher, thing I love is that it leads up to this very wholesome moment with the team, and when everything's concluded, Reacher does some things for his team that I thought was just so well done, because there's a lot of strength and pride amongst the people, and he does things for people that they wouldn't do for themselves, and to take care of his people in a way that they would naturally say they would reject his offers, and he puts things in a way that they cannot reject, and makes the bond and the appreciation amongst them that much better. And it just shows you how good of a character this person is. And yeah, I like that they changed up the format, because it would have got stale to do the exact same season all over again. And it makes me excited for where they're going to press the third season. Is it going to be a mix where it's like a little bit of the first season, but then the villain and what happens changes the dynamic a bit, and so now Reacher is pressed with more difficult situation that we haven't seen, but it has a little bit of the charm of the first season where he just rolls into town. I do know that Alan Richardson just announced which book the third one's on. I forget the name of the book, but it's going to be in Maine. He had a very manic video announcing it, because he's just like he's very bipolar, and he's very up and down. So it's one of his very high moments, and he was like trying to eat a lobster. He's like, it's gonna be in Maine. And he's like, oh, this is really cold. It's not taste good. It's just like this funny video. But yeah, so it's gonna be in Maine. It's gonna be a different vibe, like every single one, which is cool, because it's like every season is gonna be completely in a different place in the United States, however always filmed in Toronto. But regardless, yeah, I'm excited for the third season. I love the second season. For me, it just got better. It just got better over the first season.
Okay. For me, I will say that I like the second season. This is not a bad show. This was not a bad season. For me, I will say that I enjoyed first season more, because I enjoyed the deductive reasoning aspect, and I enjoyed trying to find out who's doing what, who's behind what, who can you trust, who can you not trust. The negative I have for this season, or I should say not even a negative, because like this is a personal choice. Like the thing that I wasn't as attuned to was this season was I personally felt that it was a little simpler. They told you who the bad guy was. They told you what was going on. You were identifying like what the means of the things were, which was different. However, the season finale was just like the season finale of the first one. It was a satisfying conclusion of what they were ramping up to. It was like, I didn't watch the season finale and I was like, oh, because like just that was never, I guess, on the table. My thing was I enjoyed the mysterious aspect, and also the who is in charge aspect, and trying to identify that from the first season. I didn't get that in the second season, which is fine. That's a personal choice, and like you said, Darcy, like you could repeat the same thing over and over again, but that would become stale. And also, all you'll be doing is like literally comparing two identical stories from how they did it the first time versus how they did it the second time. So I'm not against the variety, and I'm not against second season. I enjoyed this story arc. I really did enjoy the more in-depth. How do I put this? Like, it was in-depth and it wasn't. It was like, okay, so not in-depth. I liked seeing more layers to Reacher, which they were able to do this season. Before, it was more kind of like from his perspective only. This season was more like everyone's perspective, and also how everyone relates to him.
See, I mean, I hear your points, but Umar, second season was better for me. Okay.
Fair.
I don't give a fuck.
That's what I think about your opinion. That's what I think, okay?
I didn't say it was bad, and I did say this was my personal opinion.
Okay, sure.
This is not like you can't objectively say one is better than the other, in my opinion.
I can say the second one is objectively better.
No, I'm saying the second one is subjectively. Well, the way I would say it is like the second one is more subjectively better for you, and the first one is subjectively better for me. But the quality of the show is still there, and they're just doing different storytelling. Which one is more enjoyable for certain kind of people? The other one's more enjoyable for other kind of people. But you're like, I can't see someone who enjoyed first season having a bad time in second season. Like, it's not like that. There's no drop in quality here.
Yeah. Well, I have a question for you.
Uh-oh.
Without trying to spoil this for those who haven't seen it yet, I'm going to try to like just ask you a question about a moment.
Okay.
Just for your reaction to it, and then for those who watch it later, and then you piece together what I'm about to say. Umar, what was your thought in the helicopter scene in the moment that Reacher had to hold something, and when he was able to finally retrieve that thing? what went through your mind when he was free to do what he wants to do? Because in my mind, it was not looking good for somebody. That person needed to be
I enjoyed the helicopter scene. I found his ability. I found his grip to be quite impressive, while at the same time believable. Like, if anyone was to be able to hold on to things the way he does.
Sounds like we're describing a very different thing than what we're actually saying. I'm starting to hear how it's going off the rails.
Okay, I just say, like, I enjoyed that scene. I did find it hilarious, but at the same time, I found it believable because of his size. Like, if like, okay, let's put it this way: if Jason Statham tried that same thing, I'll be like, they no way he could do that.
The only other person who be disbelievable is Vin Diesel, because we've seen the man hold up a car. I'm only kidding, but
Vin Diesel and The Rock are the only people I believe that can fulfill that scene. I will say that I also found the moment of conclusion with the antagonist, or that antagonist, I should say, because there were several more to deal with afterwards. I found that to be an interesting character dynamic, because given how he was acting the entire season, to have him turn so quickly and be able to see his character to the root, I found that to be a really good character choice.
Oh, like, we all knew that was coming, because it's like, one thing I love about Reacher, that man, like, doesn't matter the situation, he's constant. He is a constant variable.
But with the first season, for example, since I was comparing the two, with the first season, the main antagonist kept his demeanor from beginning to end.
Yeah, it's true.
This was like I remember the dialogue from the Joker. He was like, in the last moments, people show you who they really are.
Yeah.
And that was when you saw, like, obviously everything else that happened, of course, once you see the real person, yeah, of course he's going to do shit like that. But it was such a complete difference of what we'd seen up until that point. It was like, wow.
Yeah,
that's why you shit. That's why you shit person.
Like, I really want to see, like, Reacher go up against somebody more intelligent. I have no real desire to see him go up against somebody who's, like, strong, because it'd be cool maybe at some point to have him face off against somebody who's massive and strong like he is, and there's like a real battle to happen there. But I don't want the problem that Superman and Lois had, which is like every villain is just Superman. You're like, stop. Like every single thing he's faced in this entire show has been himself, and not like in the metaphorical sense. Whereas like with Reacher, like the villains are just power hungry people taking advantage of a situation. I would like to see Reacher go up against somebody who's a little bit like
himself, like a Moriarty sort of thing.
A little bit, but I kind of more like I'm trying to think of his name. The guy who plays the boss in both he plays a villain in Breaking Bad and a villain in
John
The Boys.
Esposito.
Yeah, like that kind of like right where it's like he's intelligent but he's stoic, but it's not physical.
No, yeah, exactly. Like he's so intelligent that he's in control of the situation.
And he's stoic like Reacher is. So there's a level of like respect that starts to happen, but Reacher still has his morals, right? And it'll never be like I don't want to say, I was going to reference an anime, but I can't say it because it's like only in the manga right now.
Usher doesn't do that.
Yeah, but like two people that are like very similar, and at the end they're just like, I respect you. I'll never get a fight like this. Reacher wouldn't do that. He would just be like, you crossed the line. That's it. There's nothing else. Like you were hard, but you crossed the line, and that's the only thing that mattered.
Yeah, I would like that too. I think that would be a really nice change to the Reacher world. One that I would welcome immensely.
Yeah. And then, like, there's a lot that could happen with that. Like, he would have to bring back, what's her name? I can't think of it right now. His friend.
Neely?
Neely, yeah. He'll bring back Neely. I worry, though, if like we get someone like that, like, I worry about Neely's safety. Like, from a writing perspective.
I've been worried about Neely since season 1. I thought she was going to get gunned down in the first season finale.
Yeah, I wasn't worried with the second season, but if she brings in and I get the kind of villain I just described, I don't know if she'd make it through the season. I'm just saying, because like that would be like the way to like really push the limit. So
yeah. All right. So unfortunately, Jason Statham snipered Tactix's Wi-Fi, so we can guess what his review was. Unfortunately, we will see if we can get him back next week and get a fuller review of the Beekeeper. But so I think Darcy, I'll just volley it to you for our closing remarks.
Yeah, well, it's unfortunate. Jason can keep the bees, but can't keep the Wi-Fi. So this is another week or another episode of Geeky Bros Podcast. I'm your boy, just Darcy here.
And this is Geek Umar. Thank you all for watching, and for all of you who commented in our chat. Please like, favorite, and subscribe, and please live long and prosper, and have a good weekend, y'all.
Yeah, yep. Peace.